What's up, you amazing people? I hope you're having a fantastic day. You are, of course, watching and listening to the Daily Dirty 30, also known as the DDT, here on The Kevin Lee Show. And I am your host, Kevin Lee. Now, for those of you who do not know what the DDT is all about, let me take a moment to explain. You see, it's a show that airs live at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday, and it's where I get to spend 30 minutes telling you, the viewer, all about the things that bother me today. What do I get out of it? It's easy. It's therapeutic. Why should you tune in? That's even easier. It's entertaining. Sound like a fair trade? Good. Let's get to it. Hello, friends, and happy Thursday. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. I know that I am. You are, of course, watching the Daily Dirty 30 here on The Kevin Lee Show. This is a show that airs at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Currently, right now, on Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, where Wednesdays we have different podcasts called the Talking Sports podcast with Kevin and Mikey. Yeah, and I am, of course, your host, Kevin. That being said, there isn't a whole lot, I don't believe, that I have to get you up to speed on. If you did miss yesterday, you missed a great episode of Talking Sports with Kevin and Mikey. You can always watch it on replay, but I highly recommend that you subscribe to it. That can be found on Whatever with Kevin. And again, I'm cross-posting at least some of it, at least like on Facebook, things like that. So perhaps you even came across and saw it there, but I highly recommend you watch it, and especially watch it live, because we not only have a good time, but we are encouraging you to come on air with us. It could either be on the phone or maybe even in person on video. So it's entirely up to you. But yeah, don't miss that next time. We'll be going every Wednesday, roughly for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, just live talking sports. All different kinds of sports: football, baseball, basketball. Hockey's done with for now, so we won't probably be talking about that unless there's any major deals. But, you know, WWE, which is a great sport. In fact, I think I'm going to try to get a couple of more people who are more closely considered to be experts on the subject of WWE, because frankly, I don't know that much about it. That's the funny thing is I used to watch the WWE like religiously when I was a child, of course. And then I didn't watch it again for many, many years. And then like as a young adult, for whatever reason, me, my brother's friend who he lived with at the time, really got into WWE. So we were into Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, you know, you name it. And we had a good time. And then after a while, we just stopped watching it. But yeah, I was into it for a while, and I catch glimpses here and there. And, you know, a lot of people are going to say that it's not a sport, but it is. It's a lot of athleticism needed to participate in wrestling. And, you know, so there you go. Wrestling's good. Anyways, don't miss talking sports with Kevin and Mikey next week at Wednesday at roughly would be what, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. I'm guessing, kind of pulling that up my ass, but what are you going to do? Anyways, we should probably get to the topics at hand. So first off, again, I want to say happy Thursday, and I'm glad that you're here. I hope that you've been having a good week, and I just hope that you're having a good day, right? Because that's important. It's important to have a good day every day, so I hope that you are. And if not, then let me know if I can do anything for you. So, is there anything wrong with zoning out for a bit? This is what we're going to kind of talk about. Because let's be honest. There are times where we need to like decompress, right? You've had a long day. Either you're at home, homeschooling the kids and being a good stay-at-home parent, or you're going to work all day or all night or whatever your situation might be. And, you know, you just need time to get away, right? You need time to de-stress. So what's the first thing most people do? They pull out their good old trusty smartphone, right? They got the smartphone. They start watching the TikToks. They start watching Instagram, going on Snapchat. But even that gets tiring once in a while. And even then, it's social media. So lots of times when you're trying to get away from the bad and the ugly, you have a tendency of, you know, have it being drawn right back in. Oh my God, I have no idea what my camera's doing, but hopefully it stops that. Apparently I'm going into cartoon mode. Yeah, I have no idea what my camera's doing. I apologize. And if you're listening at home, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's like, I keep losing frames here and I have no idea why. So yeah. Anyways, back on the topic at hand. When you are done watching social media, which we should all be done with as fast as humanly possible, because let's face it, again, it's just going to remind us of all the negative things going on. You know, most people will turn on something like Netflix. or, watch a documentary, watch a movie, watch a series. I mean, how many of us over the last 6 months have binged an entire series in like a day or two? I mean, actually, I guess I would say I haven't, but I have watched a decent amount, mostly because my daughter puts on her shows and I watch a lot of her shows. Yeah, but there's that. Getting a old sip of coffee here. Oh my God, what is going on with my camera? I'm about ready to stop this broadcast. Tell you what. Hopefully, it's coming across okay, and everyone can see me just fine, and everyone can hear me okay. But yeah, we've talked a lot about technical difficulties lately, and I don't know why. And we just lost my camera. That's fantastic. So you can probably hear me right now, but that's going to be about it. So let me see what happens when I do this, huh? Let's see if we can do. Fantastic. See, not so hard. We're back. We're live. Hopefully now it'll stop screwing around. For those who are listening at home right now who have no idea what the hell's going on, let me assure you that everything is a-okay. We have everything under control. My camera was just freaking out a bit, and I went to wiggle the cable to see if that was a problem, and it just disconnected. Surprise, surprise. I think it's my USBs. They are not very happy, friendly, good. Yeah, so they kind of got screwed up there for a second. But you know what? This is live television. What are you going to do? We're just going to have to go with it. But we saved it. And actually, it's not glitching anymore. So maybe that was the problem, which is weird. Shouldn't be doing that, but anything is possible. It's 2020, right? So I think I'm sitting too low, aren't I? Got to reframe myself in this camera a little better. But yeah. So people zone out. Like my daughter, she loves watching crime shows, right? She watches, what's she watching now? She's watching Quantico. She had been watching FBI for a while. Of course, there's always Criminal Minds, so on and so forth, yada, yada, yada. But so we watched a lot of that. I have to say, as far as the Tiger King goes, I didn't actually watch a lot of Tiger King. There's like, 7, 8, 9 episodes, whatever it was, I don't even know. I meant to watch it, and I watched the first 2, and then I was trying to wait for people in my house to want to like watch it with me, and no one ever did. So I just never went back and watched it. But I probably will eventually. I'm sure it seems like it was a series worth watching, at least just, if nothing else, for the craziness, right? But yeah, so I don't know what you binged, but if you binged anything good, let me know right now. And maybe we'll get your comments on the air. But yeah, it was, it's been really weird. Like we haven't been able to like decompress. Well, that's another thing too, is that like a lot of people weren't even going to work, right? And now that some people are going to work, maybe they're going to work part-time, maybe they're at home 1 or 2 days a week and then in the office the rest of the days, or maybe you were going to work the entire time because you are someone who has a more of a manual labor job where you have to be there. Maybe you work in warehousing, or, you're a forklift driver, or you work in an office where you physically need to be there for your paperwork or to use your computers because you can't work remotely. Then, or you work in a grocery store or something more essential like that. Yeah, it's kind of screwy what it could be. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting time to be alive. But yeah, so there's nothing wrong necessarily with zoning out. And even with doing social media, as long as you're not going on things that are going to stress you out. Like, I make the mistake of opening Facebook every day. And I don't even know why I do it. It's like, I don't even do it because I get notifications. Because either I don't get notifications, or if I do, I just don't even really care. I just open it up to see what's on my feed. And it's often not good, which is sad because the feed is mostly my friends, right? Or people I consider to be friends or friendly. And some of the things that they put on there is just poison. It's toxic. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not even saying these people are bad. I think they're just fed up and they've been driven to a point in life where they feel like this is the only way they can act and they have to be 100% for their cause. Otherwise, they're afraid it'll get taken away or Trump will be put back in or whatever. But it's really, it's kind of funny. I've heard people talk about what they call TDS, which is Trump derangement syndrome, all the time, right? And I don't, like I said, I don't care. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. So it doesn't bother me. But I always thought it was like, oh, what a silly term to use. Like, there aren't people losing their shit constantly when they think about Trump. But there are. I see it all the time. It's frightening. It's crazy. And people need to just chill. People need to put their cell phones down. They need to put their tablets down. They need to close their computer. They need to just zone out doing something, right? They need to focus. That's one thing I talked about weeks ago. I was so excited at the prospect of sports coming back because at least it'd be something else for us to focus on, right? We had MLB coming back. Football was just around the corner. Hockey was still going. Basketball still going. So I figured, hey, these would be some really good distractions. But then again, a lot of the sports leagues like the NBA, even the NHL, certainly football, have made these public political issues their issues, which is not helping anything at all. But yeah, I think that's part of the problem. I think that's the reason why sports haven't had more of a positive impact on everybody, simply because people are just tired of this crap, right? Just tired of it. So like I said, zone out. It's completely understandable, especially after a long day. Some people come home, they'll have a couple of drinks. Maybe they'll use a little recreational, medicinal marijuana. Who knows? I don't know. Today it's so weird. I grew up and there were a lot of taboo subjects, right? There were taboo words and topics you just never talked about. No one ever thought 30 years ago that people would be going to a store to get designer marijuana and edibles that were, not only crafted meticulously for its dosage, but even for taste and flavor and design. It's just crazy. It's a crazy world we live in. It's a fun world we live in, but it's crazy nonetheless. Next, we're going to talk about another way to kind of zone out, right? Because as good as it can be to grab your phone or grab a tablet and just do something mindless, play solitaire, go on Minecraft, just play a game, whatever, those can be good things. But, again, they're mindless. You're not gaining anything. You're not challenging yourself. So unless you're doing some game or an activity like in an app where it's actually challenging you or strengthening your mind, there's no good coming out of it, right? So perhaps, with that said, what is wrong with reading a good book? And I'm serious. I know a lot of people went, what? A book? Why would I read a book? That's just ridiculous. And to some people, that would be a true statement. And it's a sad statement, but it's a true statement. And I get it. Reading isn't for everybody. Like, even I'm not a huge fan of reading ever since I've discovered audiobooks. But even then, when I do an audiobook, I do audiobooks because I like to do other things when I'm doing audiobooks. Something mindless like organizing or cleaning the house or doing dishes. Just something where I don't need to put a lot of thought into what I'm doing. And then I can still use my mind to pay attention and listen to the story. But if I'm just listening to a story, I'm going to get distracted. I'm going to look out the window. I'm going to see something shiny. I'm going to see a squirrel. I'm going to turn the TV on. Something's going to catch my eye. And then I'm going to turn off the audiobook and start listening to that. It's, audiobooks have their place. But there's nothing to beat actually picking up an actual paper book. I mean, I guess you could use a Kindle as well or an app. I don't recommend the apps. I mean, even a Kindle, it's a dedicated device where it's, the paper ink or whatever, or the e-ink, whatever they call it. It's, I get that. Like I even have one. I don't use it very often. Just because partially it's an old model of Kindle, which, I mean, not even that expensive. You can get a decent one now with ads for like $89, and that's not even on sale, I don't believe. I think that's a normal price. So it's definitely, worth the investment, especially considering if you belong to a local library. Most libraries have, subscriptions to services like Overdrive or Hoopla or things like that. And you can get a ton of different ebooks and you can download them and read them. But I'm still old school, probably mostly because I'm old and I like, or older. I guess, can I even call myself old? Yeah, I'm only in my 40s, but I feel pretty old considering a lot of people around me are, 20s, 30s at the latest. So, I mean, I've got some older people as well in their 60s and 70s, even 90s. But I don't see them very often. The people who are younger are the ones I see more often. So I guess maybe that's why I feel old. But I'm older. I'm not even old, I mean, sure, the knees aren't so great anymore, but it's because I was young and dumb and played sports and did stupid things and took my BMX bike and jumped off, 15-foot hills and landed on concrete and beat myself up, fun stuff when you're a boy. I was an idiot is what I was. And now I'm paying the price for it. But yeah, so, well, that, and, 14 years of soccer didn't help either. But yes, back on the subject of reading a good book. There are many good books to read. Now, you can read nonfiction if that's your thing. Like, I highly recommend picking up something. Most of the books that I have, I've got a whole bookshelf next to me, and I got a bunch of stuff. It's all, or at least it's almost all fiction. Like, I have Hemingway, Farewell to Arms. I got Kurt Vonnegut, Slaughterhouse-Five. I actually have a bunch of Bibles. Bibles are always good to read. Great stories, short stories. Can learn something. If nothing else, get a little bit of knowledge. Get a little bit of wisdom. I got James Patterson. I've got Ayn Rand. I've got George R. Martin. Got some of the Game of Thrones books. Got Stieg Larsson, who did the what's it called? The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series. Yeah, I got a lot of good stuff. So there's a lot of good books out there if you want to read them. And if nothing else, it's good for your. It's good for your. Not just for your mind in general, but it's good specifically because you're not living in the world around you. You're not, burying yourself in this terrible existence that we have all around us. Because let's face it, this world's freaking terrible right now, right? Turn on the news, it's terrible. You go on Twitter, it's terrible. You go on Facebook, it's terrible. You go on any app, it's going to be terrible. Like there's never, like, even if it's supposed to be like a news source, it's always going to be a negative news source. Right, because they know you're there for the sensationalism, so they're going to give you sensationalism 24/7. I mean, I'm old enough to remember, even on news, channels, the news cycle was not 24/7. Like, it wasn't completely changing around every 6 hours or 12 hours, or even every hour. It was every day, every 2 days. New big stories would come up, not every hour, on the hour. I mean, let's face it, people have alerts on their phone for these apps, and it tells them stuff that happened, 6 minutes after it happened. You don't have to wait till the 6 o'clock news, 9 hours from now. You hear it right now, and it notifies you. It buzzes in your pocket, and then you're going to pick up and, whoa, what's this? And you see that, and then that becomes an issue. And then not only that, a lot of the reporting on this crap is terrible. It's just bad reporting. Like, people are being irresponsible if they're reporting. It's one thing to kind of come out and say, well, there's a developing story, and this is what we know so far, and just state one or two facts and leave the rest up to imagination. That's fine. But that's not what's happening. They're filling in the gaps in all of them now, as making assumptions and then telling you something. And then if it happens to change, then later on, they just are reporting a different story. They don't even tell you they were wrong, right? And then if anyone brings it up, they'd be like, well, we were just going off the information we had, instead of just waiting it out and finding out what's going on. It's sad, really. It is. It's completely sad. But yeah, as far as good books are out there, I mean, there's a lot of books. And again, read. I mean, and I'm not saying you have to read like 6 hours a day. I'm not saying that at all. Maybe a half an hour a day. Pick up a book and dedicate yourself to reading one chapter a day. Chapter could be 5-6 pages. I mean, that might literally be an 8-minute read. You might even feel like, oh, I like the way this book is going. I'm going to read the next chapter. And, maybe you'll end up reading for 20 or 30 minutes. No, it's kind of like exercise, right? You don't have to necessarily exercise, 3 hours a day, every single day a week, but it's good to exercise regularly. So you want to do at least 5-6 days a week, if not 7. And, maybe you want to do a half an hour, 45 minutes. So if you can exercise for half an hour, 45 minutes, you sure as heck can read for a half an hour and 45 minutes. And if you feel like reading more, you can do that as well, but you can always find the time, right? Just turn off the TV. It's so easy to do. Like, I can't even tell you how many things I get done when I simply just turn off the TV in the middle of the day, and then all of a sudden I get up and I walk around and I start picking up things, moving stuff around and dusting things off and cleaning them, or, checking on my kids more, or working with them more on their schoolwork, or replying back to an email that I meant to reply back 3 days ago, which I haven't done yet, or, open up a draft of something I've been writing and then going through and reading it and actually doing some editing and then some rewrites. It's amazing what you get done when you turn off a TV. Same thing goes with your phone, your tablet, even your computer sometimes. And some of us, we can't get away from it, right? Some of us, we have situations where we work in an environment where we are dealing with, computers and phones, and that's just part of our job. We can't get away from it, and that's fine. But you have to try to maybe turn off the notifications, right? I'm not saying you have to delete the apps. You could do that, and that would probably be helpful. That'd probably be beneficial. But at the same time, you're going to want to get the app again, so you're going to download it, and then you're going to log back in, and then you start catching up on everything you missed, and then you get hooked all over again. So it's probably best just to either hide the app from yourself, like maybe now, like since we're on this iOS 14 for if you have Apple, you can just take the app off your homepage, and it's still in your app library, but it takes a lot more effort to get there, right? It's not always in your face. So if you just take it off your main screen or your main couple of screens, you're not going to see it all the time. You're not going to be tempted to click on it. Make sure you turn off those notifications. Go in there where it says notifications, and you have those three choices of like lock screen, banner, turn them all off. Just turn them off, and see what happens with your social media. You might be surprised. But, with that being said, what other activities could you do? Could I do? Could any of us do instead of panicking? Because right now, people are panicking, right? People are not in a good place when it comes to our mental health. We're just not. I've been working on it, so I feel better. I know I've been working out with some people around me, and they feel better. But it takes a lot of effort to distract yourself from panicking about the things that are happening all around you. Right. So we need to distance ourselves from those things. We need to distance ourselves from social media. Right. We also need to do everything that we can to make sure that, how can I put this? We need to make sure that we're doing everything in our power not to focus on the negative. Right. We talked about this last time, I think, as we should be talking about it every time. But I don't want to necessarily name the names and put the things in your head. You already have them there. I don't want to make it any worse. My goodness. I do not like allergies. You hear how my voice keeps like disappearing? This isn't just because I'm like thirsty and I need a drink. I mean, I'm literally at my wit's end. So I don't know if I told you guys about this before. I think I did, but I decided this year, I decided last year that this year in 2020, I was going to go the entire year without any type of allergy medication. And I've done it. And for the most part, it's been okay. Like spring was fine. Summer was okay. I mean, I shouldn't say it was fine. Like it was rough for like a week and I got adjusted. Summer was and I got adjusted. But now we're here with hay fever and it's not okay. Just to put it bluntly, it's just not been okay. So maybe next year I'll try, I think it's Claritin. It's the non-drowsy one. Maybe that one will make me feel better. Because half the reason why I didn't take medication this year is simply because I don't like the way it makes me feel. Like when I take allergy medication, it makes me feel like a zombie. Like I can't think straight. I have no energy. I just feel like, that I've been up for, 30 hours on 6 hours of sleep with no coffee. Just how I feel all the time. Just terrible. So I do feel, as obviously as you can tell, I feel much more energetic. I do without the medication, but it's hard having a conversation. It's hard recording a podcast. It's hard doing one of these shows when your voice keeps disappearing, right? And it gets all raspy. Unless maybe you like it like that. I don't know. But yeah, so instead of panicking, we have to find more and more and more opportunities. And the reason for that being is simple. We have 26 days and counting until the E word. Until, November 3rd. I can't imagine how this day is going to go down in history. I can't imagine in 50 years what the history books are going to say to my great grandchildren. Hopefully I'm around to hear it because that would be pretty impressive. Not to be around necessarily, but I want to hear and see how they're reporting this nonsense because it's all crap. See, the thing is, and I know everyone's going to say, well, yeah, it's the way it always. No, but the thing is, most of you listening to this right now, not all everybody, but most of you are Democrats or Republicans. And you already have a very biased view of the world. And I still have biases, don't get me wrong. It's human nature. I'm going to have bias. But I don't believe I have the same kind of bias that most of the majority of people have because I don't have a side. I don't have a view. I'm not conservative. I'm not liberal. I'm not progressive. I'm not traditional. I'm just me. And if something makes sense, it makes sense. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And I don't care who's saying it. I can easily agree with Joe Biden or Donald Trump. It doesn't matter. Or I can disagree with both of them. right? And there aren't many people that I know that can say those things because they're so dedicated to being what they're being, and they're so programmed into being what they're being. So I have no idea what the history books are going to say in 30 or 40 or 50 years, but I hope I'm around to hear it because I want to hear it. Like I said, we have 26 days until November 3rd. And that might not seem like a long time, but it kind of is because everything seems like it takes forever now. Even though as fast as the year is flying by, sometimes a day feels like a week and a week feels like a month, right? So we've got 26 days. We need to pace ourselves. Otherwise, the burnout that you and I already feel is going to get so much, much worse. So I think every day we should start looking on ways to just breathe, and relax. Maybe get an app. Here's a good reason to get an app. It's to get an app to try with meditation or breathing, just so you can kind of disconnect and relax your body and relax your mind, and to clutter your mind and not to focus on all this nonsense because you're going to burn out. I'm going to burn out. In fact, maybe if I find any good recommendations, or if you have any, hit me up. Right? Either go on Twitter and hit me at Kevin Lee Show. You can tweet it at me. Just make sure to include my handle so I can search for it. Or you can follow me and DM me. You could even comment on this video. I go back and check the comments, even if it's after the fact. That's fine as well. So if you have any good like meditation or breathing apps, let me know, and then I will share them so we can talk about them, maybe even in detail. Because, like I said, man, we need to get our crap together because we're all in this together, one way or the other. Today, tomorrow, the next day, and on November 3rd, and on November 4th, and a week later, and a month later, we're all in the same country, right? That's not going to change. So we need to learn to work together, and we need to learn to relax and breathe and just decompress. So if nothing else, I hope you've gained a little bit of hope that we have a chance, right? We have a chance of pulling through this. How it's going to look on the other side, I have no idea. And I make no promises. None at all. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. We're going to have one more day this week, and that's it. And then it's going to be the weekend. So again, check out my past podcast, the one from yesterday, the Talking Sports with Kevin and Mikey. That's always a good time. And don't forget, on Saturdays, every Saturday, I do the Libertarian Hour. And I think I'm going to do a special episode. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it Saturday or Sunday of talking politics, just because, with the debate and everything just happening and just everything going on in politics, I don't want to go more than a week or so at a time. So I don't want to skip a lot. I don't want to miss a lot because I do enjoy politics. Because like I said, I don't have a dog in the fight necessarily. I mean, I do, but my dog is always caged up and never allowed out. So it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I like talking politics. So maybe I'll do an episode of that this weekend. But if I do, I will let you know probably tomorrow. Or I'll just have to wait for an announcement on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter if you're not already. It's at Kevin Lee Show, right? So at Kevin Lee Show. Just go there, follow me, and you'll hear all my announcements. You'll see when I'm doing everything live and when things are coming up. And I never miss an opportunity to make an announcement. So, all right. But that being said, you know what time it is. It's time for our happy ending, right? So for some reason, if you have no idea what a happy ending is, it's actually rather simple. A happy ending is something that we play at the end of every single episode. Essentially, it's just a short video. It's just a video about, something fun, something silly, something cute. Sometimes they're 5-10 seconds long. Sometimes they're a half a minute long. This one's actually one that makes me laugh quite a bit. So I'm going to play it right now. But we'll see you all tomorrow. So have a good one. Bye.
Everybody's doing that anime filter thing. How do I look with it? How do I look as a beautiful anime person? Ugh. Ah! I don't like how it changes when I scream. Ah! Ew, when you do it in low lighting, it does not look...